In Myrtle Beach, you always go at your own pace. Lie out on the sand, lie out by the pool, go boogie boarding, go surfing, walk the boardwalk, walk the marsh walk, golf at one of 90 golf courses, mini golf at one of 50 mini golf courses, fish off a pier, fish from a chartered boat, go shopping, get drinks, eat the freshest seafood. The list is exhaustive, but the experience isn't. You can go all out or do nothing at all. How you relax is up to you. There is so much to do and explore, whether you're traveling with friends, family, or just yourself. With 60 miles of beach, you're going to find your place. If this sounds like what you need, then this is where you belong.
Hey, do y'all like fishing for prizes? Maybe a trip to Costa Rica or a once-in-a-lifetime African safari? Well, the Grand Strand Fishing Rodeo is back. Thanks to the hard work of Visit Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Trilogy Outdoors Media, this once-popular event is back and is bigger and better than ever. This event is comprised of 12 monthly competitions that culminate in November with our annual banquet and expo, the celebration of fishing on the Grand Strand. New to this event is the freshwater division that will help include all of our anglers that live and visit the Grand Strand throughout the year. Monthly species winners will receive great prize packages from Bass Pro Shop and Surf Signs and Designs. But most importantly, they will receive an invite for them and a guest to our annual banquet and an entry in the grand prize drawing. So whether you fish the rivers, a pond, the pier, the surf, or a boat, you have a chance to win the grand prizes. To get signed up or for additional information, visit TrilogyOutdoorsMedia.com and click on event. Also, you can visit any of our weigh stations and registration stations to get signed up as well. Best of luck to everyone, and we'll see you at the scale. Trilogy Outdoors.
All right, folks, welcome to Trilogy Outdoors Podcast this week, and we are back in the Trilogy Outdoors studio. We've got probably, about a month and a half left, 2 months left in here before you adios and ship off and...
Yes, sir. It'll be mid-June.
Mid-June. Oh, mid-June now. Okay. Well, so just so you know, and I think we already covered this, but we will be doing the podcast from a new little studio that we'll have set up in the back of Marshall's Marine in Georgetown. They're going to set us up a nice little area. We can put signage up and some chairs and seating back there. So we're going to do it down there. So we'll have a little road trip when we go do it. So maybe we'll try to knock one or two out, Jay, because you know you've been volunteered as a sit-in.
As a stand-in?
As a stand-in host.
Man, you got little shoes to fill.
I'm on the line. I'm a
If you were taking my spot, it'd be okay. If you were taking my spot, it'd be okay. But unfortunately, filling the old senator spot over there is going to be it's
How many
tough.
months you gone for?
I'll be back in January. So 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Well, that voice you hear, you've heard several times on the podcast. If you listen to Southern Anglers Radio Show, you've definitely heard him on there before. That is the one and only Captain Jay Baischs of Fishful Thinking Guide Service, Baischs Boys Bait and Tackle, and now all washed up Driftwood art. Sitting with him as well is his lovely wife, who I had the pleasure of introducing these two together. By the way, I didn't take any claim for this.
You do take credit.
I didn't, but I didn't take credit on the radio show today because we never got to that part because y'all were supposed to call in or come in or something. You called in, didn't you?
I did call in.
Yeah. Why didn't I bring it
Where
up?
were you?
Well, you brought it up afterwards.
That's right. We brought it up afterwards.
Yep.
But anyway, we were responsible for breaking that ice and getting Kelly her forever date and her forever fishing partner. But anyway, we've got them join us in the studio for a number of reasons. And, you know, episode 53, we're into our first new year. But we have so many things to talk about. And just this week, Jay and Kelly and myself, well, of course, I wasn't on the boat with them, unfortunately, but we slipped out to fish one of our days for the Wahoo Series. They took Kenny Moore with them. And, of course, we're with Chad, their regular partner, on Superstitious. Is that right?
Yeah, Superstitious.
Superstitious.
Because it's a black cat.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Duh.
It's a catamaran. It's black, so we call it Superstitious.
I like that.
Yep. And I was on the boat with Lucas. We were on the other boat.
Had our own thing going on.
We had the black cat on our boat. But at any rate, we had a great time, and we now think we have the fuel thing figured out, so we will not go out there and miss partaking in any of that high speed.
Y'all had a genuine fuel problem?
We did. and it went back to the previous trip that he had made where he ran out of gas about 10 miles offshore and had to get pulled in.
Yeah.
But the issue became it's those it's that fuel tank, and I've had the same issue on Patrick's 42 yellowfin. Is if you don't switch those to those reserve tanks, you get that air bubble.
Yep. The containers will do it too,
and it locks up.
Yep.
And so
Vapor lock.
So he actually felt like he ran out of gas with 110 to 120 gallons still in the boat.
He got towed home with 100 gallons left in the boat.
Yeah.
Is that
not a horrible situation?
That's a bummer, dude.
There's a little, we figured this out before, and I'm trying to remember what we did. It's basically just like a little transfer pump that you get from the AutoZone.
That will keep it from happening.
Well, I mean, if you ever do, you can shut them down immediately, and then you can pull out a little transfer pump from AutoZone and hook it up to your 12 volt and
put it back in that first tank
put it right back in the first tank.
Yeah, it doesn't mind pulling from because.
Yeah, if you've screwed up already, then and you got a bubble already, then it's over and done, right? But I mean, if you know it's coming quick, you can shut it off before it causes too much of a problem.
Well, I can tell you that when it happened with Patrick Sparks, it was the second trip on the 42 offshore, and it happened on a Sunday afternoon in Little River. And let me explain something to you about Little River on Sunday afternoons. There's a lot of boats at the point, and a lot of Patrick's friends were out there. And for
watching him getting towed home?
For them to see him, dude, it was killing him. And it made it that much worse when we got there to the fuel dock at Cricket Cove, and we started filling all the tanks up. And when we got done, we were 130 gallons in the good. And he said, we really just got towed in with 130 gallons of gas in the boat.
Yeah. And some of those tanks will only run, the way that some of those boats are built, they'll only run one engine.
That's what happened.
Yeah. That's why you got to do the transfer too.
So even after getting gas, we could only run one engine.
Right.
We had to run all the way back to Grand Dunes Marina on one engine.
Which won't even come close to planing
Which
off
which was the engine that didn't control the power steering.
Right.
Which was the engine that on that boat with 4 engines is a nightmare to drive with no steering.
Yeah, that's
on a Sunday afternoon in Little River.
That to me, that's a fatal design flaw. It can easily be overcome. I mean, you just run all engines on all tanks.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you go chopping up the tanks into it's like some of these boats in 3-4 different tanks and saddle tanks and center tanks and 2 center tanks, and then you end up with crazy stuff like that where you'll have to run the port engine on one saddle tank and the second port engine on the other saddle tank, and the center tank runs the center engine, and before you know it, you got a transfer problem.
Yep.
Everybody's going further and further in smaller and smaller boats, so it's like put gas where you can.
Yeah.
Well, let's do some house cleaning here first and foremost. Big congratulations out to my partner here. We're sitting here looking. Jay and Kelly and I are looking and admiring this beautiful medal. This is Is it the Order of Palmetto?
Palmetto medal.
Palmetto medal. Okay.
Yep. Look at the back. Open it up and take a look at it.
I'm not. One of y'all can. Nope.
It's jewelry. Let's give it to the girl.
I'm not messing it up.
Thank you. No, it's beautiful.
So last week, while I was in North Carolina for a wedding, Stephen, Renee, and the family were down in Charleston. You were. What is that ceremony? Now that is the ceremony that you were at. Is where the Knobs officially are announced as freshmen, correct?
It's called Corps Day.
Corps Day.
Yeah, that's where the Knobs are officially recognized as cadets. And, there's only a few of those Palmetto medals that are given out. They're given out at Corps Day. They're, given out for exceptional service to your nation or your state. And, I'm honored to have received it. Honestly, I probably don't deserve it.
Absolutely not. Don't even stop with that.
You were agreeing with him?
Because I am I am one of his biggest fans ever. Even if we wouldn't have gone into business, I was still his biggest fan. But if anybody deserves it, it's you. I can promise you they're going to have a tough time finding me somebody else that they're going to say deserves it more than you.
Yeah, they don't give those away.
No, they don't. And Jay, in I don't know, 400 or 500 years, somebody like you is going to be metal detecting around.
Find that thing?
And they're going to find that thing, and they'll be like, how about that? I wonder who SLG is. It's got my initials and the date on the back of it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, that is great because, of course, I think you had a little bit of hand in helping Jenna and her son with their acceptance down at Citadel. Mm-hmm. And she was there. And apparently, whenever you were announced and everything else, she was somewhere in the nosebleed section and wasn't able to see or get me pictures. But she kept sending me pictures this week of everybody that was there but not in military garb, and was like, is this Stephen? I'm like, that's not even close to Stephen. I should show you some of these pictures. I'm like, Jenna, you've met Stephen. How do you not? And so she never found me a picture. She thought you had shaved everything off and everything else, and I'm sure you probably did. You grow it so quick.
You just tell her to look for the best-looking guy
But
there.
I still haven't seen the picture.
That's it.
I did. I told her you would probably be standing right by the best-looking guy, without a doubt. But I still haven't got a picture of the whole ceremony. Did you put on your Citadel attire? Or?
No. We just wore a suit.
Okay.
Suit and tie when I was there. But no, I had an event, like a sort of a get-together afterwards, and we had a bunch of state leaders and federal leaders. Congressman Mace was there, and the adjutant general was there, the deputy adjutant general was there, the president of the Citadel. We had a good time. It was a good get-together.
That is great.
Yeah.
Well, I am super proud of you, buddy. And there's not a more deserving person than you when it comes to that. This week also, you've been busy. You're always busy, but you tend to do a good job as a salesperson during the week as well. And we got to talk about new partner we have in the podcast. He's going to be with us hopefully for a long time, but I know he's going to be with us for a while. And I got to enjoy talking to him this week and catching up a little bit about his business. But let's talk about his business, because here's the thing. My whole confusion over this and where he and I discussed, why are Horry or Georgetown County selling things to out of state when you've got somebody in state that can handle all this? And we're talking about government auctions. Let's talk about it.
We do have an interesting sort of conundrum there. We've got one of the biggest government auction houses in South Carolina. It's called GovWorld.
Yep, GovWorld.
Yeah, and a lot of our counties and local governments use outside, I'm not even going to call her name, but an outside Delaware corporation. And so anyway, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of that, because he's looking into possible ways to try to better himself and point out the inadequacies of big out of state interest, which happens all the time. You try to figure out why a local guy is disadvantaged to a big out of state interest. And anyway, he's making good inroads, and I'm happy to know the guy and happy to have him as a sponsor. I always like to support local sons. And this Chuck is a great guy.
Yep.
He's from
Kingstree.
Yeah, you're part of the world originally.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but his business, big business. GovWorld is a big business. If y'all don't know it, look it up. If you need a tractor, you need a side-by-side, you need a new four-wheeler, he's got them by the thousands.
It's unbelievable. Like right now, he had four-wheelers up. He's got I mean, I'll just tell you one thing. As soon as I started looking at it, I said, ooh. Let's see, Kinsley's got 5 years before I have to worry about that. But, I mean, there's some great vehicles they've got on there. Most of them come from a city or county fleet. And
if you need a white pickup truck, it's probably where to go.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, yeah. He's probably got 100 white pickups right now.
Oh yeah. Have you never been by there on the way to Santee?
It's incredible.
No.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it is so big. And when Stephen called me about it, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I know the place. Little did I know that I knew the owner. But we're looking forward to promoting them and hopefully bringing them some love from some of our local counties and bringing them to you. And we'll talk more about the other auction they have. But for the next 13 weeks, we want to talk GovWorld. Yeah. But they do have another one as well. So you can go visit govworldauctions.com, check out more information on it.
And they can sell to the public.
They sell to the
public. It's not like
public.
going to a car auction where they can sell right to the public.
Yeah, these are just for the most part, stuff that he's bought from the government. But he also has a website, as you mentioned, that is private-to-private sales.
Yep.
Right.
But I'm telling you, if you're looking for a new tractor, a new four-wheeler, a new side-by-side for the farm, this is the place to go get it. You can find some deals.
It is.
Yeah.
A great place to go. We look forward to promoting them and having a great time with them, and our love with Healthy Cell continues. I will say that you got the night stuff. How'd that get drop shipped straight to your house? Well, that should have gone to the P.O. box.
I don't know. It was like
I would have taken some of that.
It was like magic, and I have. I've been taking it.
You have?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that stuff.
So the last week, and I'm still suffering from being under the weather. We've all had it. I've talked to so many people that have had it, but that vitamin supplement that I've had has been my one saving grace, is to be able to get in there and eat it. Of course, I really love the flavor of mine. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even need to wash it down with anything. And we're talking about these prepackaged vitamin supplements, and the way they're designed is so that your body takes it in so much quicker,
You can absorb
better,
it.
absorbs it better, and Healthy Cells come up with the perfect way to get your body to take it in. And they've got some incredible stuff there. Remember, if you go to healthycell.com and you click on anything that you want to see, go in there and go shopping, and make sure at the end when you check out, do Trilogy. You put Trilogy in, you get 20% off on your first order. So make sure you go show them some love and check out everything that they have. Let's see. Also, we also need to clean up that this was our 9-year anniversary this week for the Southern Anglers Radio Show.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's cool.
9 years anniversary, and we had a great show this week. Had some old guests join us, had some new guests join us. I played some old segments from shows in the past, but again, an incredible idea that Kenny Moore came up with, and how we have been able to stay on the airwaves there for 9 years. And so happy to also be celebrating 5 years at the Gator this week, which Gator was a perfect match for us. We should have been there to start with. There's no doubt. Country music, country fans, and fishing go hand in hand.
There's songs about it.
There are quite a few, quite a few, no doubt about it. But we did get out and do some fishing this week, and Jay and Kelly are joining us from Baischs Bait and Tackle and All Washed Up Art. Is it All Washed Up Art?
All washed up, just art by Jay and Kelly. All washed up, just making driftwood art. And
All right, let me jump in here for a second, okay? Because I've been fascinated by y'all's artistic abilities since you began this thing, and so I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
No, we want to
that's
listen.
what this is.
I gotta say, so I've always thought it was good, like super good, and then the other night we had the CCA banquet, and it confirmed what I believed. What did it? Jay built. Well, I don't know, Kelly.
Yeah, there's a Wahoo. We made about a 6 foot.
But who does what?
Okay, I'm the building department. She's the paint department.
Right.
All right, but both y'all go find the right driftwood.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so let's back up a little bit. This is driftwood artwork.
Yep.
And you make it into any number of things, including critters, fish and game, for the most part, right?
Right.
That's right.
All right, so you assemble it, Jay, and then Kelly paints it.
Yep.
All right, so we go to the CCA banquet the other night, and I see the most spectacular driftwood Wahoo, which has a plug coming out of its mouth, by the way.
I made a little driftwood
lure.
plug in front of it.
A little driftwood plug in front of it. You know, there was hooked.
Ballyhoo Islander driftwood thing.
Something. It was incredible. And I said, Dad gum, that's good looking. I said, that thing's going to go for thousands of dollars. And I'd be dogged if it didn't sell for thousands. How much did it sell for?
$2,500.
Yeah.
I went straight to the bar. Like, after that was sold, I was like, all right, I'll be back.
$2,500. But it was a big thing too. It was probably 6 foot.
Yeah, it was
long.
6 foot long. It's probably like what a 60-pounder would be in real life.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. So fantastic artwork, all washed up.
All washed up. That's what I'm going with.
Do we have a website yet?
No.
All right, we need a website.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on
Building
that.
stage of this. This is like what my.
They don't realize it, but they have hired us to be their directors of
Oh,
marketing.
yeah. You're in. You don't know?
Well, that makes sense. I mean, now
That's
that
why
we're
I'm
sitting
here.
so we need a website.
Yes, we need a website.
All right, how does somebody call you and
Okay, right now it'd be just off my phone number, and honestly,
Or Facebook Messenger
and
as well.
Facebook Messenger for the Baischs Bait and Tackle Facebook page. But I mean, I'll give out my phone numbers: 843-902-0356. And I'll be honest with you, I'm working with the public a lot, and I'm talking with people. Just like you, probably texting works best. You text me, and I'm going to get back to you as soon as I can, and it's just easier.
So what we need to do, I think, is we need to get in touch with all the big interior design guys in town.
Yep.
Girls, for the most part, gals for the most part, and show them, like sort of like a repertoire. That's not the right word I'm looking for art, but you know what I'm talking about.
Portfolio.
Yep.
There you go, portfolio. We need to show them your portfolio.
That's what I got out of art school, the word portfolio.
There you go. And so every new house coming on the line that they're doing interior design for, this needs to be incorporated in every single, because this is a beachy themed sort of stuff or a marshy themed sort of stuff.
I knew I came to the right guys to push me.
No, we can get this done, man. This is I'm telling
in.
you, it's
I'm
good.
in.
It's good enough where somebody ought to really latch on and make a big deal out of it.
I agree. I've been saying it.
Well, I appreciate
I've been saying it.
I've been pushing him.
I know you have.
You know I have.
It's really good. I'm not blowing smoke up your tail. It's really good stuff.
Thanks. You know what? It's just kind of my life in a piece of art.
Bam.
Yeah.
I went to art school.
Yeah.
I was a fishing guide.
Yeah.
I built houses, and
Right.
it's just everything I've done kind of
Yeah.
has come to this intersection, and I'm going to lasso it and ride it and see. You know, life's funny. I'm the older you get these different things about how you feel about life, and I'm kind of excited about how my life's been and how there's just different chapters, and you have like big events are like they're kind of hurtful to go through, but then a new chapter in a book is exciting, and just like that in life is how I feel right now. Like I'm excited about a new chapter in life and change of scenery and some new pages.
Yeah. Well, you should be.
Yeah.
You should be. You've got a talent and a skill, and it's marketable. And at the end of the day, you can make money on it too. So
Yes.
I
appreciate it. We appreciate it.
And it's a lot easier than throwing a cast net.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have to chase the tide. I can go fishing.
Well, I don't have
when
to go
it's
with
flat.
him and watch him get worn out.
Yeah.
Well, I get dirty in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, chasing the tide gets tiring after a while.
Yeah, it happens every 12 hours, and the clock don't care.
All right, here's what I want to hear.
It doesn't care.
I want to hear. I mean, we got so much to talk about fishing, and I want to talk about your big hog you killed.
Oh yeah.
Stephen will love that story. But why did you start with the driftwood art? What I mean,
You know what? I made a couple pieces for myself when I built that house over on Mary Lou Avenue. I built myself a nice house, and I wanted some stuff to decorate my little man cave downstairs, and it was just I don't know. I guess it was out of necessity or want or whatever. I just was like, you know what? I'm going to build myself a couple driftwood dolphin down here. And I built them. And next thing you know, I built like an 8 or 9 foot driftwood shrimp. And I still have my original pieces I built. And I've definitely come a long way. Like when I look at them, the style of them, they're cool and all. But like the ones I'm making now are definitely prettier.
So you think you've evolved into a better artist today than you were then?
Yeah, I think I've become better with the medium.
Okay. So some of this stuff has to, if you're building shrimp, it has to be 3D in some cases. It's not all flat, right?
Well, that's what makes this art really fun. It actually kind of jumps off the wall because, there's a side fin sticking off the fish and gills that stick out. It's not like a painting.
But you have done 3D pieces.
And I have done
We have sharks in the shop.
that are hanging from the ceiling and stuff
Everyone
like that.
loves that he could push.
Yeah, I remember the sharks now that you think about it.
yeah, the big 3D ones.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, they
tiger
look
shark
good.
and hammerhead and stuff. But
Yeah.
it all comes down to what's worth doing and what's not. And I know the 3D pieces take me a lot more longer to build.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's kind of just.
I'm sure. You know what? You should do one for Bass Pro. Honestly, you should do a big 3D shark or tuna or something. for
I
Bass.
can guarantee you that I can make 2 texts, and we'll have it hung wherever you want to up there.
Just wrap it in paper and put it in front of the door one morning.
Well, they ought to. I mean, they ought to pay for it. Honestly, they're always looking to buy. Cabela's and Bass Pro's always looking to buy mounts and whatnot.
And that's actually one. Now you mentioned that mounts. Sorry to cut you off this time.
There we go. Nope. but this is
Mounts is one of the places I've gone with this, and I'm making replicas now. People are catching fish. They're keeping the numbers, girth, length, keeping a picture, and it actually puts a mount in your house that doesn't cringe your wife.
I love that idea.
Where you don't have a dead animal on your wall. You have a piece of art and what it means to you and what it means to everybody else. It's just is what it is.
And you can even put a picture of it underneath, right?
Right.
The
That's
original.
what I thought about.
Yeah, I love that idea. Have you done a hogfish?
We've done several.
All right, so I need a big,
right.
nasty, gnarly
on it.
hogfish.
Well, bust out
We
a
have
picture.
a picture of
Bust
that.
out a
Big alpha male hogfish doing.
Oh yeah, doing his thing.
Doing his thing.
Saying, "Don't spear me in the face, please."
All the most. I have lots. Everybody knows these feelings, like the one that got away, and hogfish has got to be one of the easiest fish to spear. Okay, because they're very territorial, and so if you don't know much about hogfish, you've never seen one on the bottom. Most people haven't. When there's a big alpha male hogfish on the bottom, the first thing he'll do most of the time is swim, especially if there's a female. He'll swim up to you and he'll show his fins, he'll show his dorsal, and he gapes his mouth. It's like he wants to fight, and it's a fantastic display of dominance or
like turkey hunting underwater for
testosterone or whatever. And so, I'm looking at a picture now.
I'm trying to zoom in here so you can see his face with all the squigglies on him.
Dude, that's awesome. I don't know what they call those squigglies, but
they're crazy. Yeah.
But that is what they have, those little things, little yellow squigglies. It's beautiful. It's awesome. So the one I would want would be very similar to that, but with an open mouth and the big gnarly teeth.
Yeah, the white and the red showing and the fangs showing.
Yeah.
I'm on it for you.
So anyway, that it is one of the easiest fish to spear because of their dominance and their show. But when it goes wrong, it's one of the most internally embarrassing things because it can be so easy that sometimes you just rush through it.
Yep.
And one of the biggest hogfish I've ever seen, no joke, broke 30 pounds. I had 1 minute of bottom time left. I came upon him. He turned and looked at me, threw up his big dorsal fin. I said, aha! And on my way up, I bounced off the bottom. I slung a shaft at him, and it just grazed the side of his head and hit the bottom. And he took off. No joke, 30-plus pounds. And to this day, it still haunts me because it's such an easy shot. You just take 1 more second, 2 more seconds, and line up, breathe, think, squeeze the trigger, and it all works out. But you don't, and bam, the best fish, your life goes away. So anyway, I'm going to recreate that fish so that I can remember my failure over and over.
Yep.
I'll paint a scar on his
forehead. Right, creased right down the side of his forehead.
Well, I'll tell you, if you look at the price that people pay for these, I'll mention their name, Gray's Taxidermy, King Mounts, whatever, and the price that people pay to get these replicas made, you can create driftwood art that I think personally looks, far better. And it's different than what everybody has.
Yeah. It's definitely more dynamic. Like when you walk in and you see it on the wall, it's definitely more unexpected and has them a little bit.
Well, we were talking about it. All you need is length and girth.
Length and girth in a picture.
Yeah.
And of course, that's when the picture part is where Captain Kelly's eye comes into play.
You know what? She is such a great painter. She has no training.
I remember when y'all started with the painting part because you were doing just wood.
Yeah, I was just doing driftwood, and then she started painting them, and it's gotten to the point now where she's like, I want to take painting classes, and I'm like, no.
He won't let me.
Don't let anybody tell you what you're doing.
Yeah.
He thinks it'll ruin it, and I'm like,
mess it up.
You have to learn somehow, though.
Yeah. Figure out your own style.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you, with the pintail, they just did an incredible pintail. We'll share that picture, too. The pintail's incredible, but I saw you, in the colors when you were doing it the day before the offshore tournament, or was it yesterday? I can't remember. My days run together.
The day before yesterday,
But
I think.
when you were putting your colors in there, you were putting a color that I would not even imagine under another color to get the right color.
Right.
See, that's
right shade.
That's why I stopped watching her paint because I'll start throwing in my 2 cents.
Yeah, he'll
And
be
he
like,
was
change that
throwing
color.
his
It's another. I'm like, you don't understand. I layer this. I got to get the right color right.
Yep.
It's a process.
Well, here, that's just part of the work. The other part of the work becomes going to get said driftwood. And as much as you two love being outside and outdoors, that's a that's a great experience. And you found tons of other stuff
We
like
find fun things.
the things
find
you
cool
brought
stuff.
over
Yeah.
today.
What a cool place to be just in general is that high tide, high flood surf zone.
Yeah.
It's just ecologically and the things you're going to find and the things you're going to see. It's just it's such a unique place to go. And everyone that knows me just knows I'm. Some people see a swamp and they're like, ew. And then some people see a swamp like myself, they're like, what a beautiful swamp.
Yeah.
And I'm the beautiful swamp guy. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like I'm in one of those beautiful swamp situations when I'm out there. And it's awesome.
Well, honestly, the places you talk about are some of the most beautiful places that we have in South Carolina.
In South Carolina, no doubt.
And the reason that they're beautiful is because they're hard to get to.
Yep.
And they're virtually impossible to build on.
Right? Yeah, right on. Thank God.
Right? Thank God. Exactly. And that's the reason they're beautiful. I don't know why it reminds me of this, but one of the reasons, in my humble opinion, that we have one of the best fisheries, and really in the nation, is because it's hard to get to.
Yep.
Right, and people don't know that about the Carolinas, and I'm fine with people not knowing that about the Carolinas. But we got a fantastic fishery, fantastic bottom fishery, a fantastic offshore fishery. It's just hard to get to.
Yep.
Right, I mean, a lot of the times you're a minimum 40 miles to 60 miles
To good.
to good fishery.
Yep.
Right, right. It's hard to get to, and it's great. That's why the cypress swamp you're talking about, that's why the high tide line on the barrier island is great, because they're hard to get to.
Yeah, they're awesome.
You look around and you see nothing but what's supposed to be there. You don't see the track home after the track home after the condo after the condo after the tag from Ohio after the tag from Ohio.
Yeah, next.
You don't see it. You don't
And then
see it.
sometimes you feel like you're cleaning it up
Yeah,
and
that's
making
right.
it prettier.
That's
Yeah,
right.
like what we do.
So-
Is, I mean, a lot of the stuff we're taking off of those areas is like man-made scraps.
Yeah.
And it's you kind of doing your part a little bit.
Crab traps, broken crab tracks, plastic bottles.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that stuff is everywhere in every part of the world. Doesn't matter how remote, it washes up on the beach.
Yep.
And right, I mean, if you're the guy that's there, it's your responsibility to make it a little better next time.
Recently, Senator Goldfinch and myself were introduced to Healthy Cell and their incredible line of products. Stephen started on a regimen of taking Focus and Recall after each daily workout to help his body recover from the physical demand of a workout and to help boost his focus and brain power that he needs on long days on the Senate floor. For myself, the last few years, I've been struggling to get the recommended amount of vitamins and nutrients in my body due to decreased appetite. When I was introduced to Bioactive Multi, I was excited to start a daily regimen that I felt would help my performance both on and off the water and would give me more energy to get through long days and increase my productivity. With Bioactive Multi, I know that I am getting the FDA daily recommended amounts, and with the mixed berry flavor and the ease of swallowing, my body is able to absorb these vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants through the proprietary gel format that Healthy Cell has created. This allows my body to quickly absorb and start using these valuable nutrients to help me get through long, busy days, just like we all go through in our daily lives. Go visit healthycell.com/trilogy and use our promo code TRILOGY, all caps, to receive 20% off of your first order and start living a better life today. For over 8 years, GovWorld Auctions has been solving surplus issues for municipalities and counties in South Carolina and beyond. Their turnkey customer service has made them one of the best in the business here in the U.S., and they are located right here in our home state of South Carolina. If you're looking for tractors, heavy machines, and vehicles, just to name a few, our partners at GovWorld have you covered. The process is simple, and their experts will come to you to inspect, photograph, and video all items before they make them available to everyone in the world for the bidding process. GovWorld online auctions are supported by mailers, emails, and promotion to the biggest buyers in the country, and they get results and the highest dollar possible for your items. Don't go out of state to another auction company. Support business here in South Carolina and let GovWorld get you top dollar for your items and put the money back in your city, municipality, or county. Give GovWorld a call or visit their website, govworld.com, for more info and to set up a visit with one of their experts to get you in the next auction. Don't let valuable items just sit behind a fence. Give GovWorld a call and start turning them into money today.
Well, he's taking 2x4s and 4x4s now and making.
I'm making furniture, a lot of
Furniture
furniture
out of it.
out of the old hurricane dock wood that's out there and stuff. I'm pulling it back and
Yeah, that's cool.
making big gun cabinets and stuff with it and stuff, making some cool furniture with
Oh, that new entrance. Oh, that's the other thing. You should tell him about your.
I'll take a picture and send it
what's
to
it?
you.
What's it? What do you call that? Mud room? Mud.
It's like a mud-
kind of like a mud room thing that you could put in the new
It's
place
got
out
a
there.
bench that fits guns and stuff, and then there's like divided up. It's all dock boards that are stood up, shelf.
Like a
divided
stop and
up.
drop.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hang your jackets, hang your duck calls, keep your shotguns.
Yeah, we're gonna be building a stop and drop, so I need to talk to you about that.
I'll show you pictures of the one I got going on now.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, we're building a new hunting cabin sort of thing.
Yeah, where at?
We've got a piece of property on the Yalhanna Creek on the PD River,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
and we're building a metal building, which started out, funny as it is, started out as a equipment shed, and then it sort of morphed into an equipment shed with some living space, and now it's a full-fledged barn dominium now that my wife has
Involved?
gotten her hands on it. You know, and it's getting a little out of control, I'll tell you. But
Go, Renee.
Barn dominium's cool. I'd live in a barn dominium.
So here's the best thing that can happen for you. The best thing that can happen for you is for this thing to be done before you leave for Africa. Because if you're
You
going
don't
to
have to leave
Africa,
it open-ended,
then I think there's something
decorated.
about being out of country. You don't have any say-so in those decisions.
oh, I know.
So
I know.
when you get back, this thing's going to be the Taj Mahal
Oh, I know.
of Plantersville over there.
Yeah, it's AstroTurf
her style.
everywhere. She's going to AstroTurf the entire farm.
Hey, the AstroTurf in the backyard's cool.
Oh,
Hey,
I know.
and I got to tell you about the AstroTurf that I found that I got to go. I'm trying to
Dumpster
decide. We'll
diving.
talk about that in a minute because I got to decide whether I'm going to go back over there or not. But yeah, so I can't wait to see the thing. What time span do you think you'll see it before you're gone, or?
Yeah, the building will be up before I'm gone, but the residential piece of it will not be finished. That's going to be, so the building is supposed to be up. It's a new core building, American made, and it's supposed to be up. Let me start over. It's being delivered May 9th. And they say 6 weeks from delivery, it'll be erected.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking about second week of June, it'll be erected with foundation and everything. But then, we've got probably, I don't know,
Months.
6 months
Yep.
of internal stuff. We're putting cypress on the walls. And
So in a perfect scenario, they could finish it up right before you return from your deployment.
Well, that'd be perfect other than the hurt that it's going to put on my wallet. Yeah, that'd be perfect. If it was
Thanks
done.
for paying this for this. I'm glad you're back.
Right, exactly. If it was.
Oh, but wait a minute! You're making hundreds of thousands over there.
Oh,
defending
yeah.
the country, aren't you?
Yeah. my salary with the Army.
Oh, I thought you. I'm sorry. I thought you were going over there as a independent contractor. I forgot you're going over there for the country.
Yeah, I'm not taking one of those independent contractor gigs. No.
But they make such good money.
They do.
Yeah, sometimes they do.
I don't think it's worth it. I don't know. Maybe it is, but it depends on.
That's how to make the news.
I've had some friends who've made quite a few trips over there.
Oh, I got a buddy that went into the independent contracting business after he got out of the military, and he has deployed like 30 times now.
Now, is that who I met at your place? When we did the appreciation day for the highway patrol guy?
No. That's
Because I met another guy there that has.
yeah. He wrote a book.
Okay.
Yeah, memoirs of a military contractor.
Now, it sounded like he does promotion of guys. Like he basically finds guys.
He's like the monster. Yeah, the connector.
Yep.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Show me the money.
Nope. He is the what was the
Well, what's monster? Monster connects workers. The website monster.
yeah
What's the word I'm looking for?
uh
Headhunter. That's probably not.
Headhunter,
That's
yep.
probably not the best word for military contractors either. But he's a headhunter for military contractors. Yeah.
yeah I met the guy. Very interesting. But
Yeah, they make some money, but I mean they do it in like $50,000 increments, and a lot of them come back and they spend their $50,000 on a new motorcycle or a Corvette. And they run out of money, and then they deploy again, and then they spend their money on whatever, and then they deploy again, and they live like that, because most of the time they're not married, don't have kids,
right.
and they're just running the world. But no, I am not doing that.
Okay, good. I didn't think so.
No,
Soldier of Fortune.
no, yeah, there you go, soldier. No soldier of fortune for me.
Yeah. Have you been turkey hunting yet?
I'm embarrassed to tell you I have not.
I'm right there with you. I'm embarrassed to say that I haven't either. But
Everybody around me is going, and I'm getting pictures left and right every single day. Gosh, I don't know.
it's a busy time for you.
This time of year's hard always. It's like turkey season, and then life comes back.
I got lots of excuses. I mean, I'm in session during the week, and on the weekends nowadays, I'm doing all the pre-deployment mobilization stuff, and it's like every weekend I'm booked. And so I come home and I'm like, the one day that I have on Friday in between session and the time I take off with the National Guard, should I really go turkey hunting or should I spend it here with the family? And I'm like, it's time to
Yeah, because you and I mean, we had that conversation about Florida, trying to get back down there for Florida, and you were like, as much as we got a place to go, we got a place to hunt, everything, and you're right. I mean, it's hard for you to leave for, 2, 3, 4 days, and knowing that you're going to be gone for that long and leaving, them. So
In the name of turkey.
Yeah, I just can't figure it out right. I've killed a bunch of turkeys in my time. I don't need to kill another one, but I am itching to get out there and hear it gobble. It's like that's what gets me. That's what gets my blood boiling. What gets me motivated about turkey season. It's not pulling the trigger on one. It's hearing him gobble on the roost and hearing him gobble in my face, and I could care less about killing him anymore, honestly.
Well, what made it not hurt so much for me is knowing that my partner, who I hunt with, has been a couple times, and he hadn't heard many birds gobble, so I know what I'm not missing.
They're not gobbling in Georgetown?
They ain't got no birds.
Oh, yeah. Well, that
I had a great hunt. I took my daughter for Youth Day.
Yeah.
And we had one of those hunts where everything before we got in the woods went wrong, so I knew it was going to go
Oh,
right.
tell the story.
by the time
Come
we
on,
got
tell the
there.
story. Steven knows exactly the road. He knows exactly.
Okay,
Tell the
so
story.
We're
'cause
out
this-
there in the country for an hour and 20 minutes from my house, and we get 3 minutes away from
on Old River Road.
Old River Road, the land we're going to hunt on, and we come to a bridge out sign.
Oh, yeah.
So then we got to backtrack, if you know the area, all the way up to Basin and all the way back across to Palmetto and back
Yeah.
around. And it takes me 40 minutes, 35 minutes to get back around to where the property is going the long way.
Yeah.
So then I get there, and McKenna has a choice of a couple guns she could shoot for turkey hunting. She wanted to shoot her old 20 gauge. So the night before, I went in the bullets, and I grabbed some 20 gauge bullets, and I got out there, and I go to load her gun, and I don't even own a 16 gauge. I grabbed 16 gauge bullets. So I have a handful of 16 gauge turkey loads. I don't even own a 16 gauge. I don't know where they've come from, and they're not loading in the 20 gauge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on? And I can't read without cheaters. So my daughter, I'm like, what's this bullet saying? 16 gauge. So then now it's already breaking daylight because everything that's gone wrong. I call my brother and I wake him up. Can you put a 12 gauge outside with some bullets? We drive 20 minutes to his house. We get a 12 gauge of bullets. We make it back. Well, we're in the car and it had rained and it's all clay out there. So we walk 3/4 of a mile to a bluff on a floodplain. It's about 35 feet high. It's a nice high bluff on a floodplain. And we get on the logging road and we set up 20 feet from the edge of the bluff. And we let it calm down in 5 minutes, and I hit the call. And before I'm even done with my first set of purrs, we get cut off by a turkey that's in range right over the hill.
Yeah, that's
We just walked right up on them.
Yeah.
And then a hen went nuts, just yow, 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 yow.
Yeah.
And she walked off, and she took the gobbler with us. And I was so upset for her when we could have just walked up to the edge of the hill and shot him, basically. So we were kind of having our sad moment, how close we were. And then I hear sticks breaking, and up comes 5 jakes and a 3-year-old. He had about a 6 or 7 inch beard, and he had a full fan. And he stayed in half strut and had a blue head the whole time because he was with those jakes. And by the time they walked up the hill, they were already in the decoys. Before they even knew there was decoys there. So they bundled up all together, and I couldn't let her shoot because they were literally piled together,
Right.
Almost bumping heads, trying to figure out what was going on. And then they started single file and walking away. And at this point, they're 10 feet. They're really close. And they walked to her right, which if you're a right-hand shooter, it becomes very uncomfortable to shoot when you're against a tree. Mm-hmm. And they got just to the point where she couldn't push her shoulders anymore.
Yeah.
And I was sitting right to her left, so I could kind of look down the barrel of the gun. And I was like, the third one with the blue head. Well, she had to push the gun to make the shot.
Yeah.
And the bird was so close, I think the shot was still in the wad when it passed his head.
Right.
So she missed the bird. I mean, she pushed and pulled, and the bird took off and flew, and there was jakes running around everywhere. And I was like, well, shoot one of those. And she rolled one, shot him right in the head. I was like, you can shoot one at full speed in the head running like a rabbit. But you couldn't shoot
the one standing there.
still. But she would have carried that bird down 17 if the cops wouldn't have pulled her over. She was so proud of that thing, and I was so proud of her.
That's cool. That's awesome. How old is she now?
17. That's her last youth hunt of her life.
Wow.
Yeah, but those stories are what make turkey hunting what it is. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I think back to, I've killed many a turkeys. And I think back to probably one of my funnest turkey hunts was one of the first times I went with you and Pete. And we went out to the property out there. And these two, you feel like you're, a ninja. I'm not a ninja, but a sniper out there. They're crawling, belly crawling like 1,000 yards.
Oh, I
I'm
know.
like,
I've been through
are
it.
y'all
We were
kidding
young.
me?
When it flooded out there, we canoed 3 miles down a logging road to get to that
get there.
property
That's
one
right.
time. And then the birds weren't even on the ground. We canoed back out, and they were in the trees above us while we were canoeing out of there.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. We all have. Everybody's got those turkey stories that we can tell, and most of them don't even end with a bird on the ground. A lot of them.
You know what the best thing about turkey hunting is? It's like if you were to go deer hunting and see an 8-pointer every time you went, it'd be like a whole different game. But turkey hunting is like that. Like every time you go, there's a couple times you don't see anything, but it's interactive to me every time I go, whether I see one or hear one, and it's just, I don't know. It's like whether you harvest one or not, it's like seeing an 8-pointer or a 10-pointer every time you go.
Yeah, it's like outdoor crack.
It is.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Turkey hunting is outdoor crack, and so is elk hunting. If you haven't ever experienced that, I always tell people.
We'll have to take your word on that one.
I always
I know,
try
that's
to
my dream animal.
try to explain to explain this to people, but if that feeling you get interacting with a turkey and it working and him gobbling and coming and hanging up and coming and hanging up, and then he finally ends up in front of your face in your decoys, and it just works. That feeling that you get of accomplishment, and now just multiply that times about 100.
Yeah.
And that's when a bull elk in the bugle in the rut comes together, and you've hiked your ass off to get way back up in the in the middle of nowhere, and you see him from a mile away, and you spot and stalk him within range, and you start calling him, and he gets upwind from you, and you get downwind from him, and you get upwind from him, and you're working trying to keep the wind right, and finally it all comes together, and he sort of carefully and methodically steps within range, and he just messes up. There's just that 1 second that he messes up, and he's yours.
You crack the code.
You crack the code, right?
Yeah.
And there's just nothing like it when it all comes together.
Yep.
It's just amazing. And we just,
Yeah, that's the thing about elk hunting. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear that so bad.
The noises they make are so haunting.
Oh.
Like, even on TV.
Gosh.
Like when you hear a gobble on TV, like I've experienced, real life gobbles watching hunting on TV. When you hear it on TV, it's like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting there and he gobbles, it's like your
Rattles
soul,
in your chest.
You're like, you feel it, and it's like
Yeah.
I can only imagine it just shooting through you and giving you shivers, like in person. The noises.
So that one right there, that's behind Inglis, number 3 in Colorado with a bow. That one I shot at 8 yards. Okay, he and I the reason I'm bringing this up is because of what you just said. So we were working this little piece of island, and a willow island, and creek on both sides of us, and it's like maybe a 25 or 30 acre island, and we're working wind in our face towards the end of the island, and we get within 75 yards of the end of the island where it becomes creek again, and let out a bugle, one little puny bugle. I let out a little puny bugle, or maybe it was my buddy. I can't remember which. I don't know. We've been bugling all morning. But anyway, somebody let out a little puny bugle, and he just, like right there, somewhere close.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Right? And like my buddy runs back, and I ran to the closest set of bushes and dropped down to a knee, and I started cow calling. Cow calling, which sounds an awful lot like hen turkey, by the way. I mean, you use a hen turkey call, a diaphragm call, right? And he's just screaming, and you can hear his antlers breaking limbs, and you can hear him coming, and it's getting louder and louder and louder, and he stops like from me to the railing right there in front of me. And I got 2 bushes on both sides of me, and he's in the window between the 2 bushes. And he just stops, and he's looking for that cow or that bull that just bugled, and he goes, "Ooh!"
Oh, my God.
And there's steam and froth and spit like coming out of his mouth, and his belly's doing this jumping thing, like right in front of me. I don't even remember drawing the bow. Like, I do not even remember drawing the bow.
Instinct took over.
It was just like, I remember the arrow hitting him, and he jumped. Like, I think he jumped once, and he was, maybe 20 yards when he stopped. I don't remember drawing the bow again, but I drew the bow again and shot him again, and when I hit him the second time, I hit him the first time fine, but I wasn't about to, not shoot him again. By the way, anybody that bow hunts, especially for elk, here's my tip for the day. You shoot them until they're dead.
I never heard anybody say that one had too many holes in them.
Yeah, you shoot them until they're dead. If they're still close to you and they're standing, shoot them again.
Yep.
So anyway, so I shot him again, and he fell dead right there. He just tipped right over, right there in place. And it was the most surreal, and I'd killed a few by then, but just like not almost being run over by one that was so intent on kicking some butt, right?
Yeah,
he was just intent.
You felt the testosterone from
You
right there.
You just feel it like running through you. If I would have looked like the backside of an elk, I think he would have rammed an antler right through my hide. And you know, you felt that way if you've been turkey hunting any amount of time. You felt that way with a gobbler that's just intent on kicking that Jake's butt, right?
Yep.
He's just running over that Jake. He jumps on the top of his decoy. He pecks his eyes out, you know.
He don't care it's rubber.
He doesn't
He's
care, right?
Going at it.
Now it's an 800-pound bull with giant antlers, right? And he's standing in your face wanting to do the same thing. He's wanting to kick somebody's tail, and then he's going to go breed that cow, and you're the cow.
Yeah. I hope you didn't have any scent on.
Right. It is a super intense when you get up and close and personal to him, and you're in the thick stuff. It is a super intense experience, and I highly recommend it if you ever get a chance to do it. Highly recommend it.
Dying to do it.
Yeah, it's Kelly and I. One of our dreams is to go out there and mule deer and elk. That'd be fun. We had a fun experience.
That would be fun.
We had a fun. You're talking about the snarling, just the spit and the foam coming out of his mouth.
It's awesome.
Excuse me, Kelly. 2 weeks ago, shot a huge boar.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
And we go out there and we hunt in the National Wildlife Refuge areas, and they allow you set a stand out there and stuff. So she gets up in the tree and she's bored up there, and she gives me a call on the phone. We're talking on the phone, and I'm 1,000 yards away in my boat. And we're talking, and she's like, "Oh my God, there's pigs! I gotta go." So I get back down out of my tree and I start idling to her. And by the time I get about 50 yards from her, I hear "pow."
Yeah.
Well, there was one pig to the right of me first when you were on the phone with me, and then the big one come out to the left. So there was two pigs, and I never even knew it.
So then I hear the gun go off again, and we hear wah, 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 wah. I was like, "Oh, she definitely hit that one."
She hit him.
So then we hear the gun go off again, and then I look up in the stand under the Spanish moss because you can barely see her, and she's like, giving me to come over. So I run over there, and she's like, "I need more bullets." I was
And
like,
I
"What do you
did.
mean you need more bullets?" And he's like, "He's still kind of trying to." So I just quick handed her my rifle, and she couldn't find the pig anymore in the scope. So I threw on my waders, and I grabbed my pistol. And my buddy Rob, who's new to this, he threw on his waders, and he grabbed his pistol, and we get out there. And it's about a 250-pound boar with big old ivory, and she spined him
Yeah.
Twice.
twice, shot about 3 inches apart, both of them right in the spine, back behind the shoulder. So his front half is working,
Right. Yeah.
and his back half's not working.
Right.
And his front half wanted to kill me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His front, and I had my pistol there, and I had home defense bullets, which come to find out are not what you want for pigs because they won't go through the bone. They just deflect. So I went and bought these buffalo boar.
They take out these big white chunks of fat on their head if you've ever shot a home defense bullet, and that is, you're exactly right. That's a mistake people make.
Yes.
Wide cutters are fine for pigs.
Yeah.
If you're shooting them
right.
in the head, yeah.
You want solid.
Solid brass wide cutters are perfect.
Yeah. So I bought these buffalo boar. They're cold pressed, so they're a little bit more dense.
Yeah.
And they're the real deal. But so I was out there, home defense rounds in there. He ate bullets like crackers.
Oh yeah, they do. It's crazy. I've done the same thing, especially if you're shooting a pistol up close at a boar's head.
Yes.
It just like you'll see these white chunks of like
Right.
just like popping off, and you're like, oh yeah, and he's still coming. You're
And
like,
he's
what
laying
the
there.
heck is
and
this?
froth is coming out. His eyes are looking at me like.
Oh yeah.
So I'm with my buddy Rob, who's never done this before, and it's like 70 degrees outside, and this pig's steaming like it's 12 degrees outside, and yelling. And I had to use my whole 9, and he emptied half the clip of his 9 before the thing finally laid down.
Yeah, ear hole, or just go ahead straight to back to the chest with them.
Well, I was aiming behind the ear, but the problem is I had no gun rest.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of freehand it, and I'm getting pretty good at that lately because he's putting me in these
I'll
situations
put her in the weird
with deer
situation.
and
Well, you know what? If you want to kill animals,
pigs.
sometimes you got to be in the odd situations.
yeah.
So I used to shoot them. We had a rice field here in the PD, and we used to shoot them we'd corral them with the John boat, on the ditches.
Right.
And you'd run them down the dike until they came to a clear area, and then
Yeah.
and you'd wind up in that same situation where you're walking down the dike, trying to corral them or trying to find the ones that you've shot, and there's nowhere for them to go.
But back at you.
But back at you a lot of times, and so you end up shooting them in the face or in the forehead. And if you got the wrong bullets, dude, they just keep coming.
No, I'm telling you, if that pig had more mobility,
oh yeah,
I would have been hitting him with. I would have been pistol whipping him. You know what I mean?
You gotta find a tree to climb.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I was in the middle of a rice field,
Right.
and it was.
You were sinking on the way out there, so I was worried about that.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where if you're 15 feet away from me and I bounce, you feel me bouncing.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're just on a root mass,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so you're dragging a pig out there. We couldn't even drag the pig. Actually, we'd have to get next to it, grab its front feet, and be like, "All right, we'll throw him 8 or 10 feet. Ready, 3, 2, 1." We'd throw him.
Yeah.
And then we get up next to him again, and we throw him. So we had to throw him 100 yards to
Yeah.
get him out.
Have y'all done a European skull?
Not of a pig. Well, I've done with a pig before, but I had problems keeping the teeth in and the bones together. It was a little.
I got a good guy that does it if you want it, and he doesn't charge that much.
I sawzalled his face off. I'm just getting his tusks out.
I got you. But next time I'll show you. I did one for Trip this year that he killed. I'll show you how it turned. It turned out really good.
Do you European mount it? Because I've talked to a lot of people that they were doing them and they were hydro dipping them. They looked awesome.
I've hydro dipped a couple of deer I've done before, just for fun. It's fun. It's cool.
They turn out good
Yeah, it
if
comes
you
out
get
good.
a cool pattern to put on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So you did a European?
Yeah.
On yours?
Yeah, I'll bring it down when we're done. I'll show
Yeah.
it to you. Yeah, it looks good for sure.
Well, that's good. Well, so fishing, hunting. I mean, what else can't we talk to with the Baischs? We can talk to them about every single thing there is out there, but let's talk fishing. Let's talk. We were going to talk flounder fishing, but here we are, 52 minutes into it already, and we haven't even started.
Wow.
So we're going to have to save you. And
52 minutes into your 54th episode, was it?
then 53rd.
53rd. Wow.
So I did want, before we quit, I did want to get into flounder for just a second.
Okay.
Because this is April 1.
We're there. Yeah.
This is April 1. So we're there.
In a warm year.
Yeah, in an already warm year, right, exactly. So are you expecting to see the flounder show up in big numbers in the very near future?
Yeah, I'm thinking 2 weeks from now, it's going to be what May was last year.
Right, yeah.
I saw, actually, when I went down to the boat ramp 2 days ago, I saw 2 keeper flounders' heads down there.
Oh, really?
Somebody caught 2.
Oh, they were cleaned. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody was disposing their carcasses, and there was 2, 2-pound flounder heads right there. I was like, somebody. And just as a good tip right now, it's early. Fish the edges of the inlet. The land is warmer than the water.
Right.
So the water next to the land warms up. So try things in shallow water. Try things on the edge of the inlet. I wouldn't recommend the jetties for flounder fishing right now. That's not where the fish are feeding. They're going to have to pass by there, but they want to get their body a little warmer before they start eating.
Right.
So shallow water against banks.
That's what I do. Not to give places away, in front of Mount Gilead, Flo's Place, the Blue Condos, way down south by Three Fingers.
Yeah.
Just places where water can end up sitting still and warming up a little bit.
Really popular community holes you just gave out there.
We're talking about Merle's Inlet. There's a lot of places.
There's a lot of places.
There ain't nowhere that ain't fished by somebody, and everybody thinks they own each one of them. So.
Oh, they do. Come on.
Come on now.
For sure. And the Giggin's about to start up too. So
Any new deal with that?
no, as far as closing it down?
Yeah, I mean, I know every year you hear little whispers closing down, whispers of there's going to have to be a license for it, just whispers of changes in that.
No changes on the law in South Carolina for gigging this year. What do you think? What to start with on baits early in the year? Are you thinking just big mud minnows?
Yeah, I like fishing artificial baits, honestly, this time of year. What's nice about a jig head is if you get a little snodgrass on it, you can give it a good pop and get it off. I'll fish a lot of gulp stuff in the springtime, bright too. I go 2 routes. I either catch them on really natural colors, and I use a shrimp shape a lot. I'll use that 3 or 4 inch gulp shrimp, and I'll go either like muted brown colors, like a real mud minnow would be, or I'll go nuclear chicken, like crazy, crazy tie-dyed orange and green, and just.
No, you're not trolling artificials, are you?
I don't troll much.
You don't troll?
I don't troll much. I did when I was younger a lot, but I don't know. I feel like I know enough spots now where I just kind of
Pull up to your spot.
pull up my spot, try for 15 minutes, pull up my next spot, and I'll be honest with you, it does bite you in the butt sometimes because places that I grew up fishing all the time are now community holes, and you don't know when you're pulling into somewhere that someone was there 2 minutes ago that left that wasn't good. And I watch these guys like Bill Blakely and some of these other guys now that are older guys that have been fishing Merle's in a long time, and they've got trolling motors. And they're fishing just the whole bank, like you would a bass tournament.
Yeah.
And they're coming home with more and quality fish because they're only catching one here, one there, and they're not hitting these holes where, I don't know how much a flounder remembers. I keep fishing my tank, and they know they remember, they react to me. And I don't know if a flounder comes into Merle's Inlet and gets caught at 14.5 inches, if next time he comes back by Merle's Inlet, he's like, I ain't going back in that place.
Right.
Well,
And I don't know how much we've influenced that. And
no, because you said you think that from hurricanes, his theory has been it's filling in at the entrance.
And our inlet's not the
inlet.
same. You know what? I talk to these old timers. They right there in Parsonage Creek where the docks are. At low tide, when they were kids, they'd skip school and swim there.
Right.
It was 6-8 feet deep, and our inlet is
Now.
just slowly filled in. And honestly, I've never confirmed this with anybody. I got my own. I feel the vibration. If you put a stick in the sand and you beat on it and it vibrates, it kind of just turns to mud.
Yeah.
I feel like the amount of vibrations from boat motors that we have in our inlet now has kind of jellified a lot of that mud, just the vibration. And I feel like
I think it's he brought this up to me a couple weeks ago, and I really started thinking about it. I was like, that's not a bad philosophy.
He sees it enough.
And I feel like our creeks, like especially Parsonage and like the little ones that are next to docks that get a lot of vibration, are the ones that are filling in the worst.
But it's going to get interesting this summer because they're going to be dredging the entrance to the jetties.
Are they going to be dredging?
Well, the state park guy comes in and told us that was their plan for the summer.
So I think, I'm not Nostradamus or anything, but I think the way this is going to work is that the federal dredging will get postponed until the state dredging picks up, which I think would be next year. And usually, so right now there's $35 million in the state budget to dredge Merle's Inlet. I think it will hold, and I think we'll have it. But the mobilization of that project won't be until next year. They almost never don't combine projects that are that close.
Gotcha.
Okay, because the mobilization of a dredge is really expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they would much prefer, if they know that a project's coming, and it's already permitted, they already have the spoil site permitted, it's ready to go, all it needs is funding, the Merle's Inlet, the state portion. So if they know that the funding's there, I can't imagine them mobilizing a dredge, doing the federal channel, going away, and then coming back 6 months later and doing.
Yeah.
It just that doesn't make any sense. Now, federal government doesn't do a lot of things that make sense, but I would guess you're going to see the entire inlet, including all the little creeks, county creeks, Oyster Cove, everything get dredged next year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
That
You know,
sounds-
back to flounder fishing, I think that's a huge issue. Part of it, too, at low tide right now, if it's a full moon, you can almost walk across the mouth of our inlet.
Yeah.
One little spot. There's like a 20-foot wide thing that's 8 feet deep. Now, for a 5-pound flounder to come into our inlet, he has to go over a hill.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big deal to a fish because when you go over a hill, you're exposing yourselves to dolphins and sharks and everything. So
Birds.
Yeah.
osprey.
There was a picture of an alligator eating one in Huntington Beach this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I think those fish don't like the exposure of coming over that sandbar into our inlet where they used to just be able to come in, stay under the radar, make it way back into the creek, staying in 10, 15 feet of water all the way.
Yeah.
I think, human pressure, change of topography, all of it's just kind of led to where we are with flounder right now.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. We'll see. There are some, not to be a naysayer, but just to debate it with you.
Yeah.
There are some fairly shallow parts of the state, and North Inlet being one of them,
That get fish.
that get fish.
It's true. Polly's Island.
Right, Paul's Island. Yeah, Paul's
That's
Island.
been historically shallow.
Yeah, Bulls Bay.
Cherry Grove.
Cherry Grove.
Yeah.
That do. But you're right. Maybe the fish remember Merle's Inlet, in the same way. They do migrate. These fish traditionally migrate offshore of North Carolina and then come into our waters. At least the ones that they've tagged that I've seen. That's been their traditional movement. And so, I don't know. I'm looking forward to the flounder season this year. We'll see what the changes have. We changed the
It's
law.
gotten better every year a little bit.
Yeah,
I feel.
I honestly,
last 5 years anyway.
honestly feel like the last 5 years have been getting better and better too. Last year, while gigging, for those of you who don't know, I love to gig. I'm unashamed about it. I don't ever go over my limit, but so I'm following the law. But I get to see a lot of fish that a lot of people don't get to see.
Right.
When you gig, you get to see a lot of stuff. And there were days last year and the year before where I saw 200 fish in a night. And let's say that 2/3 of them were short, but only short by maybe half inch. A lot of 14, 15-inch fish.
I wish you could tell the difference between males and females. I'd love to, when I see those schools of fish that are small like that, I'd love to know if it's just a whole bunch of adult males that are hanging out. Yeah. Is it a mixed population? Is it like because it'd be easier to, in your head, put together why I'm catching 14 inches right now. If you're like, it's all males. It's all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and back to last year, I think that 2/3 of the fish I saw last year were pretty darn close to 15-inch fish.
Yep.
Pretty darn close. Now, early in the year, you'll get some, 12, 13-inch fish. But, if you had to average them all, I'd say 2/3 of the fish were 15-inch fish.
Yep.
If we come back this year and 2/3 are 16-inch fish, we'll be doing pretty darn good.
You know what? I've chased that down rabbit holes too. Like, let's just say, this year I caught a whole bunch of 12-inch black drum. Next year I'm going to kill the 14. You know what happens? Next year you get a whole bunch more 12-inch black drum because that's the age class that comes here.
I think you're right. I think you're right, but I do think at some point in time, if you don't catch too many of those 15-inch fish,
there's no doubt it helps.
You're going to get more 16s.
And nobody needs love with where the law's written. Nobody. You know what I mean? If you can take advantage of where it's written right now, it means you live here.
Yeah.
So if you live here, get dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I'm the same way. Right. Yeah. I mean, if I kill 10 fish in a night,
not one goes to waste.
Not
one sits in your freezer for a year till next year and gets thrown away for the next one.
That's right.
The policy I have on flounder is if I go gigging and I kill 10 fish in a night, we're having a fish fry that weekend.
Right on.
And it's done.
Right on.
Right. I do not waste fish. That's the way I mean,
it's the same as us. We
the entire cul-de-sac eats.
Hardly any in our freezer, literally.
Hardly any.
Yep.
Right.
No, he cooks a lot, and he cooks fish all the time.
I do. Yeah. I love to cook fish, and I imagine y'all do too. But I do not like to eat frozen fish.
No.
There's too many good fresh fish here for us to eat frozen fish. Honestly.
Yeah, it's a big refrigerator out there. It keeps it fresh for me.
I mean, so the policy for me is very little frozen fish at all. I'll keep a bag in there just in case we have a bunch of people that want to eat fish. Otherwise, we're eating fresh fish, and I'm not taking more than that.
Yep, same as us. And you know what? It's just it makes me just as happy giving it away. Sounds like same as you.
Totally
you know what? I can give some to my landlord, give some to my friends, give some. It's just random acts of kindness.
I'll freeze catfish. If somebody gives me catfish, I'll freeze striper. I'll freeze some grouper if I have to. If I can't eat it all.
Bottom fish.
Everything else I kind of leave alone.
Yeah, bottom fish is the only thing I'll freeze a little bit of. Like
Tuna's terrible.
You
you freeze tuna,
Nah.
if you vacuum seal it,
it doesn't matter.
No, you lose everything. Like I cannot wait to eat fresh
all you
tuna
can do is
tonight.
All you can do is boil it and mix it with mayonnaise after it's been frozen.
Right. Turn it into tuna salad.
Tuna salad. That's what you got.
Yep.
Mushy, and it goes bad quick.
All right, so let's see. We talked flounder real quick. Let's talk wahoo. Y'all had a great day. Let's talk colors at work.
We were high speeding for most part. We ended up with 7 wahoo and 1 tuna. We're in the wahoo series right now, so we're out on our second day. We struck out on wahoo on our first day. We had an epic tuna day though.
Great tuna day.
With 22
again.
that day.
I would have taken that tuna day all day long.
That was fun, except for the only day that's not fun is when you're in a wahoo tournament.
When you're in a wahoo tournament.
Right, like we caught a sailfish yesterday morning, our first fish of the day, and all of us wanted to kick it out of the boat. And then after we caught a bunch of wahoo, we were like, oh, and a sailfish. That was cool as hell. But
hey, by the way, you got any high-speed stuff left?
Yeah.
You got it here at the house?
Yeah.
Can I borrow a couple?
When you talk
when
about
you're wahoo fishing,
I'm doing some modifications.
When you talk about borrowing high speed
Lucas
stuff,
said,
high chance you're not going to get it back.
Lucas said, no, we're doing some modifications. No, we need a couple different. Here's the deal. We're pretty much torn between. I mean, not torn. We're married to. We have some Fathom stuff. We have some of course, our partner is one of the owners of American Tackle, right now, Melvin.
Yeah.
And we're looking for some other options because I looked at their bait that they used the other day, had a lot of success with, and none of ours are really in that design. And Jay and I talked about today, like a lot of it had to do with the profile.
Yeah,
he
so the
thinks-
one we were catching fish on, we did catch our biggest fish on a Fathom, black and purple, close to the boat, and but biggest fish in this case was 42.5 pounds versus a 40-pounder and a 38-pounder. So it was all the same category fish.
Right.
5 of our fish came off one lure out the back, and it was a blue and white Islander, but it was one of those old hair Islanders that's got way too much hair.
Yeah.
Like one of the ones that you
Way
would
too
never troll for dolphin or anything around here because
Yeah.
it's just got way too much hair.
Yeah.
But when you high speed that thing, it doesn't shrink down to nothing. So it leaves you the profile of like a baseball instead of a golf
like a
ball.
small tuna or something running through the water.
So then after that skirt, the part that I made that comes out the back, it's smaller. So it actually, when you're pulling it, gives the exact profile of a fish, of a tuna. Bigger in the head, smaller in the butt.
Yeah.
And the profile of that lure is why I'm giving it partial credit.
Well, it worked great.
Oh, man.
And here's the other thing. When I got to the marina before you did, I talked to some of the guys that were up there cleaning fish. I don't know if you saw what they were cleaning. They were cleaning tile fish. A couple boats had fished the Wahoo tournament.
They're cleaning a
out of
tile
there.
fish?
Yeah, they were cleaning a tile fish.
So how many snowies weren't they allowed to keep when they caught that tile?
I don't know.
Fish?
So exactly,
1,000.
exactly. How many floated away?
Speaking of that, I heard someone that there's a commercial thing going offshore where they're fishing for like a yellow edge or yellow mouth,
Yellow edge.
something,
Yellow edge groupers.
and it's in season, but the snowies
Everything
are
else you
not.
catch or not.
And I've heard you go behind those commercial boats out there that are from not even all from the States, and there's just death trails of snowies.
Yeah. So I fished on a commercial boat years ago. There's some people involved that y'all know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was this real creative way that I got taught how to break the law many, many years ago. Okay. And what they would do is they would take this big poly ball and you put a down line on the poly ball, and usually in the 500-600 foot range, and then you put like about a 300 or 400 foot chain, big links on it, and you just feed that chain out to the end of the poly ball, and then same setup on the other side at the end of the 300 or 400 foot chain, and upline with a big poly ball. Every 6 feet or so on the link, you'd put a 5 or 6 foot piece of monofilament with a hook and a piece of squid. And what that would do, that chain would ride the bottom, and it would float with the tide, and it would just go for miles and miles and miles and float down the ledges, and it would just pick up fish. It'd catch fish on its own. And at the end of the day, you just leave the thing out 4 or 5 hours. At the end of the day, you go pick it up, and it just every 6 feet, there's a fish, there's a tile fish, there's a snowy, there's a yellow edge,
Wow.
there's a tile fish, and you could catch them by the thousands. And same thing. You're just tossing fish.
You're after
fish
2
after
species
fish.
out of the 5 you're catching. And
Yeah. So, I mean, besides the guys that are doing it legally and having to toss fish, there's a bunch of guys that are doing it illegally on
having
top
to
of
do-
that.
right.
And catching by the hundreds of fish that they're tossing back.
And you're fishing. You're talking about a species that, I mean, we know much as the moon as we know about where these fish live. So it's like, how many is there? You tell me.
I'll bet you dollars to donuts, there's not even close to a shortage of snowy grouper.
It doesn't feel.
Oh,
like
absolutely not.
Not even
There's
close.
no way.
Doesn't feel
We
like
talked about that. I will say it was 14 years ago at least. I went out of North Carolina with a well-known captain from up there, and we went out and we set we did 2 drifts, and we had snowy on every hook, and on the second drift, because we needed 2 to make our limit, we literally had to pull up backwards to another boat beside us, and
Give
they
them
were
2 or
there
3. Yeah.
for them to have the other 3.
to not waste
for
the
real.
fish.
I mean, I'm not lying.
Yeah.
For them to have the other 3.
Yeah, you can't drop a hook with a squid on it in 500 feet of water anywhere off South Carolina
Doesn't feel like it. does it?
without almost immediately catching a snowy grouper.
Yeah.
I mean, they are everywhere. They're everywhere, and it just blows my mind. The
And you can't even,
incompetence.
by the way the law's written, you can't even weed through them. Your first one that comes up is 1.5 pounds,
Right.
and you got to pound-and-a-half snowy
Yeah,
grouper.
you got a sandwich.
That's
Yeah,
what you're stuck
sandwich,
with.
right?
Right. Same thing with red snapper. I mean,
Yeah.
just as obvious, maybe even more obvious because a lot of people don't go out in the deep water and catch them.
Yeah. This is a little bit more.
Did you see the size of the red snapper Ronald caught the other day beside us?
I
Did
heard.
y'all see it? Oh my
heard,
God,
yeah.
that thing was colossal.
A mule.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
He caught it in 3 miles, I hope. Within the 3
No, he was a little bit outside of 3 miles. It was,
Oh, that's too bad.
he was just inshore of Windmill Scarp.
Oh, that's right. He was deep, wasn't he?
Yeah, when
Now,
they
speaking of
started
which-
dropping.
I think a lot of the fish that day were in shallower. We didn't fish in shallower when we were wahoo fishing. We stayed on the ledge the whole day. But when
Andrew was inshore.
he was inshore
Yeah,
of us, and he
140.
limited it out. And when we left, we were like, well, just face it towards home for 15 minutes. And we didn't make it 500 yards off the break, and it was had a couple good knockdowns.
Yeah.
A big one.
Yeah, had one that laid on the surface and just threw water everywhere like the big ones do.
And that was the one that snapped off, right? That
he,
broke off.
he ate the lure. $50 lure first pull.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I need to borrow just one or two.
Are you gonna
Anything that's got blue in it.
are you gonna cut all my wire off and put fluoro on it?
Yeah, I'm not gonna. See, he paid attention.
Now, but I talked to my friend.
Now here's the deal. Andrew and Adam, who fished together, but Andrew was fishing, and he and Jay,
Andrew, we had not had.
they had good days.
Both of us had good days. He fished on his lures, heavy fluoro,
Yeah.
and then to cable inside the lure.
Yeah.
And on the boat, they had some cable lures out, and he said they caught more fish on the
More
cable.
on the cable.
But you know what? When I'm thinking about a wahoo eating this, I don't think he's coming from underneath, and I think he gets behind it, tracks it, figures it out. So I think you're in this situation where your lure is hiding all kind of crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
There's no doubt we were in the right spot, and I'll tell you why. But getting back to where I was, the folks at Georgetown Land and Marina were all. I mean, all they were talking about was how bad it was, how bad the bite
Oh
was.
no,
and I'm
I
like,
heard from everybody that went to.
I wish I would have been beside y'all instead of where we were.
I heard the Georgetown hole was awful the same day.
Yeah, they said it was terrible.
They said the water was a weird color. It was grass.
Terrible.
This time of year, you get that big pollen spread out there.
That's true. It's hard to tell how dirty the water is and how much is on top.
Yeah, you can't tell. You can't look 10 feet under it because there's so much pollen sitting on top.
Well, we had a great time. We're going to go back hopefully one day this week, and hopefully you guys will go get a 70-pounder or bigger.
Bigger.
Bigger. I like it.
That'll put you right in. I think right now, 100 and
37, I think.
well, no, it's leading, but I think to get inside the money, you got to be over 105
Pounds. Right now.
combined.
That's right.
I think 105
Yep.
is
Does it
inside the
pay-
money now, but
Right.
who knows where it'll be.
Pays
more
up to
people
10
gotta think.
places, I think.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
10 places. And then I meant to ask, there's a lady angler division?
There is.
Yeah, we're in it. We're
Yeah,
in
we're
senior
in it.
and
Yeah,
lady.
okay.
I don't think a lot of ladies
I didn't
are
know
in it
you were a
this year, though.
senior yet. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like gray. Did you give it away?
It's our fish barker.
That's our
God, we
partner.
forgot to sign me up for that.
That's our partner. So which is really good because I got a lady and a senior on the boat, which means I don't have to crank as much. No, we got to get you on this one right
yeah,
here.
you gotta-
You got to
He
get on
did.
this.
He
All you
rotated
rule.
us all out.
All you
Poor
got to do is
Kenny.
touch them.
Yep.
Can't break the rules. Yeah, you got to reel the whole
You
thing.
got to at least touch it.
Yep.
I
Hey,
don't know.
what are the categories on rodeo this month?
Rodeo this month, let's talk about it. April. Okay, here we go. Blackfin tuna, wahoo, black sea bass. Black sea bass have been in. I should have had black sea bass on last month. Black sea bass. So, and then we're going to have bluefish, Spanish mackerel, and flounder. Good April species, inshore species. Lots of pier caught Spanish and blues right now.
Killing it.
Huh?
They're
They're killing it.
Yeah.
And then freshwater, get ready for this, folks. You've been asking for it. You've been begging. Here it comes. Brim, catfish, and mudfish.
Mudfish. All right.
Yeah, I got to weigh that thing.
Dude, I know where some monster mudfish are.
Oh, no.
The good old bowfin is in. And you know what? If you happen to bring the other species, what's the other one?
Snakehead?
Snakehead. Bring a snakehead, we'll weigh it under
Do
there.
we have a snakehead situation here?
I haven't seen DNR's not.
I've
told
seen
me
a couple
we-
pictures. I don't think
had
it's bad. I've seen a couple people with pictures of catching them, but I don't think it's bad.
Evidently, we've got a tilapia situation.
That's what I hear.
I've
in the
heard
river.
that in somewhere south of here.
Caledonia.
Yeah. Somewhere I've heard there's some tilapia in a pond around here.
Somebody's been catching them. Somebody caught one on the river outside of Caledonia.
That's what I'm saying. In the river.
Yeah.
You go to those clear water rivers in Florida.
Oh, you go to Okeechobee,
It's
it's
just,
ridiculous.
the whole thing is
everywhere.
Oscars and tilapia.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Yep. And this month, what we've decided to do, we're going to do a tackle package for the inshore species, the flounder, the bluefish, or the Spanish. You win either if you win either all those three, we're going to draw a name, and somebody's going to win $200 worth of Z-Man soft plastics.
Wow.
So
Sweet.
for the month. So a little extra on that, and then we're carrying over the American tackle bonus that they had was a $300 package for the winner of the Wahoo. But since nobody could outright claim the Wahoo prizes this month, and since I missed the gap shot on what would have been the winning Wahoo, we are carrying it over for this month. So the Wahoo, biggest Wahoo of the month, will win the $300
you're killing
lure
me.
package.
You're killing me on these rodeo rules, though, because on my boat, we old man style.
We all take turns. We do the same
Right,
thing.
nobody. I mean, ain't nobody reeling in a fish by himself on my boat.
Look here. Lucas is the one that said it. He said, all right, I am fighting this fish to the end. I know it's a Wahoo. I'm fighting it to the end, and I'm going to be legit. So if Jay and Kelly and them try to weigh one, and they
See
say
what I'm
that they
saying?
fought it,
I'm feeling the dark side already. I gotta keep it legit, and I ain't fighting one all the way back to
so
the
he,
boat.
I'm not fighting it either. I'm glad I can't be in it.
Well,
You're
high
in it.
speed and trolling, I didn't realize how much heavier it was because
Oh,
of
it's-
the weight in the front.
Oh
I
gosh.
can't reel that thing in all the way.
And then here's where we kicked ourselves in the tail. Forgot that all our reels were 2-speed reels. Until we're like,
Forgot.
Again.
three
They
quarters.
didn't realize they could go.
You just got to push the button, buddy. That's all you got to do.
Like, oh my God, why is this so easy to reel them in right now? Is there still one on there?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that, and you need a good captain.
Did
Yeah,
y'all,
yeah,
did
right.
y'all
I'm
hear
gonna
him?
let you know.
Did y'all hear Jay admit that? I know. I tell you that. I know that.
If you got a good captain that knows what he's doing, it'll make high speed reeling a whole lot
you're,
easier.
you're right. With the boat, you can gain line
You
back.
can
and
gain
stuff.
line without like losing slack and losing
That's
the
right.
fish.
Yeah, you just got to be careful with giving them too much.
When they hit it, here's why you have to keep them so tight. When they hit it, they tear a lot.
A hole.
Yep.
A hole. So if you don't keep that lure tight and he slows down and shakes and has a little slack, there's probably about a 50% chance, unless he's hooking the bone,
Yeah.
you're going to lose him.
You'll lose him.
So when we're fighting these fish, you don't slow down to what you would normally troll at.
Right.
5, 6 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour to land them. And
I slow to 10. I slow from whatever, 18
right when they bite.
to about 10, right when they bite. And that way, you know, they're wearing a hole at 10 and not wearing a hole at
Right.
whatever.
And that way your line's not just melting off.
And it's just a big arc. You know, it's just a big arc into the wind, basically.
Yep.
And you just try to gain as much of them as you can on that arc,
That's how I do it too.
Yep.
Instead of keeping them straight out the back, I keep
Yep.
them off one of the corners.
right off the
Yep.
corner.
And that way I'm kind of driving towards him in a weird way.
In a weird way.
Yep.
Just
Sneaking
keep that
up on a turkey.
bend
I'm
and
going towards him, but not towards
And
him.
if you got one of those crazy fish that actually survives and doesn't drown and starts swimming at you, you can get on him fast.
Yeah.
That does happen every now and then too. You got one of these fish that doesn't drown immediately, and
Our biggest one was live.
yeah, it does happen. They don't all die.
yeah, a lot of them do die. But we're only probably not far away from having to start worrying about them hammerheads
Oh,
like last year,
dude, the sharks have been so bad this year. It's
eating
been
everything on the way. Real, Kelly, real.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Fast.
I mean,
And I'm like, I'm a girl. I can only go so fast.
there's no girl rules in fishing.
That
Yes, there
hammerhead.
is.
Oh man,
That
On your boat,
hammerhead.
there is.
That hammerhead was like 150 yards away. We troll by and that rod goes off, and
turned
you
so
see
fast.
that. You see him turn. That dorsal
He
fin
smelt
just
the
turns,
fish.
and you just see him coming. He gets right behind the boat, and then you just see him start accelerating. and
He's
she's like,
screaming. He's like, real faster.
Skipping a 15-pound blackfin. On.
Yeah.
you just throw the boat in gear and you just
But you know what? We
Drag
do
it.
not have what they have going on in North Carolina. Those sharks up there have figured out to listen for boats, changing gears, hitting reverse. I mean,
I think we got that in the Georgetown hole. The hole has
I don't
got
doubt that.
really
I
bad.
don't doubt that.
You
I just
can-
don't fish that spot a lot.
You cannot catch a blackfin in the hole without fighting sharks.
Yeah.
I mean, it is bad.
Oh, you watch the guys vertical jigging, and the sharks figure out where you are.
Yeah.
You catch one,
You're done.
and then you lose lures. You get $15 a pop.
So you're done.
Yeah, the last time we were there had a couple big, huge sharks just floating around.
Vertical jigging, and with the first shark, you got to move. You got to go, and you can't move like 300 yards. I mean, you got to go.
Go. Yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
go,
Next
go.
spot.
Yeah, half a
Exactly.
mile minimum. Yeah, because they'll follow you.
all right, well, what a great time. Good afternoon.
Always
hanging
good.
out with y'all.
Always good
Thank
time,
you
guys.
so much.
Always
and,
fun, yeah.
we will, I'll tell you what, folks, make sure you go click like, please share, and please download. We need the downloads. The downloads make a difference. We love that all of you are listening to them, but we need you to download them. You can go find us on all the podcast platforms. Just Google Trilogy Outdoors, like, subscribe, and they'll let you know every time we put up a new episode. And Jay and Kelly, best of luck to y'all. We'll get up contact information on how to find out about Driftwood Art if you're not in town. But if you're in town, remember, you can swing by Baischs Boys Bait and Tackle right there on 17 Business in Merle's Inlet. And they've got the back of the showroom there, back of the store full of artwork.
Yeah, we're stockpiling. We're trying to.
They're stockpiling. He's trying to keep Kelly busy is what he's doing.
Trying to keep the paint department
Yes.
busy. That's right.
Trying to keep the paint department
I
busy.
told him I need to hide and paint.
Well, stop by,
That's
check
true.
it out, and if you got any ideas, anything that you would like to see designed, talk to him about it and get on the list, because trust me, you better get on it now because that list is getting ready to get crazy. But anyway, hey, we're going to take a break and get on out of here, and y'all have a great week. We'll be back next week talking more fins, fur, and feathers, all right here on Trilogy Outdoors.
Trilogy Outdoors Podcast is a product of Trilogy Outdoors Media. All views and opinions of our hosts and guests are not necessarily those of our sponsors. Trilogy Outdoors is produced and edited by Trilogy Outdoors Media. Be sure to follow us on all the podcast platforms as well as our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also, don't forget our other brands, Southern English Radio Show and Walk 'Em All Outdoor Magazine. To find more information, visit TrilogyOutdoorsMedia.com. And remember, if it's anything dealing with fins, fur, and feathers, you're going to find it right here on Trilogy Outdoors.